Galaxy Express 39 is a sci-fi anime that aired from 1978 to 1981. Based on the manga of the same name by Leiji Matsumoto, it takes place in the distant future in a shared universe with Captain Harlock. You may recognize the art style from Matsumoto's other works, such as Interstellar 5555, the Daft Punk movie, or perhaps most famously, Space Battleship Yamato. I think all of these are worth watching, but today we're going to talk about Galaxy Express 39 exclusively. The titular character is a space train that travels from Earth to Andromeda. And yes, I said character because the Locomotive 39 is not just a machine, it's an artificial intelligence with a personality. In fact, he's a little bit like a sassy HAL 9000. He exists to execute the directive of the Galaxy Express Company, which runs a pretty tight ship with very strict rules. However, when one of the characters, like the conductor, has a request like delaying departure or stopping at a non-standard stop on the route, the 39 is usually surprisingly accommodating. Maybe this speaks to how well characters are able to appeal to the logic of a machine, but sometimes you can't help but wonder if the 39 has a soft heart under that cold exterior. Of course, the show is not about a train, it's simply the backdrop. The main character is a 10-year-old boy named Hoshino Tetsuro. The premise is all laid out in the first episode, where his mother gets killed by cyborgs, and a mysterious woman named Metel takes him in and gives him a ticket to ride the Galaxy Express on the condition that he escort her all the way to the last stop. And that last stop is the mythical planet in Andromeda, where you can get a mechanical body for free. Now, that's a pretty good deal because on Earth, the cyborgs are the ruling elites, and it is extremely expensive to get a mechanical body. And Earth is ruled by cyborgs. They're the only ones that have rights. Flesh and blood humans are treated like animals and are sometimes hunted for sport. So, growing up under this environment, it's no wonder that Tetsuro has wanted a mechanical body his whole life, but it's been a dream that hasn't been achievable until right now. So he takes Metel up on this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and embarks on the Galaxy Express, destination Andromeda. Now, while that's the premise, the show itself is composed mostly of self-contained episodes, kind of like Star Trek. They stop at a planet, something crazy happens on that planet, then the story wraps up in time for them to get back on the train and go off to their next destination. The show is filled with wonderful 70s sci-fi imagery. I just love these establishing shots of the 39 landing at a station or flying through space. I'm a sucker for retro future stuff, so I love it when the show opens to some far-out landscape. And even though this show tackles very serious topics, the aesthetic is a little bit whimsical, and that takes a little bit getting used to, especially when unspeakable horrors are happening, when they're getting attacked by goofy-looking monsters, but I think it works in a weird way. While the show covers a variety of topics, mechanical bodies are a recurring theme. And over the course of 113 episodes plus 2 movies, the topic of mechanical bodies is thoroughly explored. We encounter people who desperately want to become cyborgs, and we encounter cyborgs who regret their decision. The mechanization process isn't exactly spelled out, but it does seem like people have a soul that is transferable to a machine. When people are mechanized, their original body gets left behind as a husk, and there are some times where people who are cyborgs try to steal the bodies of flesh and blood people to become human again. Every once in a while, we get a glimpse of a cyborg core that contains a person's consciousness. Indeed, it is more than just a brain transplant. It is some sort of consciousness transferred into this little machine that contains a person's soul or essence or what have you. Perhaps one of the more interesting episodes relating to this topic is when a boy's mother dies and he attempts to revive her consciousness with a machine. Now, this isn't the same process as transferring the consciousness of a living human, but this is more of an attempt to bring back the dead using artificial intelligence. There are actually a couple episodes where this is discussed. Another one is where a woman tries to bring back the memory of her daughters with machines. In both cases, these machines end up being kind of cruel and manipulate the grief of the people who brought them back. It's an interesting cautionary tale about how you can't bring back the dead, and if you try to fool yourself using machines, it's not going to end well for you. Now, in today's environment of large language models, voice cloning, and virtual reality, it's a little bit scary when you realize these sorts of things have been tried in real life. Of course, this isn't the only cautionary tale. In keeping with typical 70s sci-fi, we have the issues of the times wrapped in a sci-fi gloss, like prejudice against people who simply look different, poverty and the wealth gap, the horrors and tragedy of war, and the dangers of a wasteful society that discards things that are perfectly good. It also asks the question, what happens to society after automation takes everybody's job, and the only thing left for you to do is sit in your house and get fat? The art style does change a little bit over the course of the series, but that's to be expected for something that ran for 113 episodes. I wouldn't say that it's a particularly high-budget show. There are some corners cut here and there, but I think the charm and storyline more than make up for the budget. I think if you enjoy older anime, you would enjoy this, especially if you've seen the author's other works from the time period, like the original run of Space Battleship Yamato. Just be warned that this is the most 70s anime I think I've ever seen. You know what I'm talking about if you've seen a lot of 70s movies and TV. The series is remastered, so it looks pretty good. You don't have to worry about some old VHS copy. And it does have an ending, so if you're looking for something that has a kind of a long run but definite bookends, this will work. At this point, I'm just filling time so that I can show you more of these far-out sci-fi landscapes. I could keep talking about this show for a long time, but I'm going to keep this one short. I don't normally make video essays like this, but I figured since I was watching this, it's been on the back of my mind for the past couple months now, so I figured why not. Anyway, if you're still here, thank you for watching all the way to the end, and have a nice day.